Hi guys, my name is Marshall.
And I'm Sangeeta, and welcome back to our channel. So today we're going to be talking about how we made our award-winning web series on no budget.
So Social Murder was an 8-part anthology series that we created, and it basically followed the lives of 8 individuals and how social media affected their lives.
Yeah, so we penned it as a sort of present-day Black Mirror. We'd been watching a lot of
Very
Black
inspired
Mirror
by Black Mirror.
at the time. And we also just had been talking a lot about how much social media has an effect on the different people in the world. And we just thought it would be great to write a story on that.
Yeah, without budget as well.
Yeah, without budget, with no budget. And some people find that hard to believe, but it's not impossible and you can do it too. And today we're going to be sharing some tips on exactly how we did that. So it all starts with the idea. I would say this is probably, if not the most important point when it comes to making your own web series. And it's just so important that it's something that ideally is original and unique.
I feel like a really good series, they all have something to say. A very strong message, which, that's something that can also relate to a lot of people and to the times of today.
Yeah, and clearly with our series being about social media, so every single episode was about a different aspect of social media. So like online dating, being an influencer. And obviously that's a very relatable thing because everybody has a phone.
How the idea actually came about was, we would just be, as actors, we would just be observing real life. And, I remember she was at work and, well, you tell the story.
Yeah, and I was working in hospitality, broke actor. And I would just be at the counter and this one day actually, it was Valentine's Day. And so we had a lot of couples come in to have dinner or lunch and they would be sitting facing each other and they'd both be on their phones like the whole time. And I was like, what a weird age we're living in that like even when we're actually with people, we still want to be here in this little device. I think the fact that we sort of modeled it off Black Mirror a little bit with the anthology format and the technology aspect of things. Obviously, Black Mirror is a really popular show, and delving into something that was sort of going into that sci-fi-ish sort of genre, I think was automatically going to be something that people would want to watch.
She's pretty cute.
Oh, more like can't touch fuck this.
You're a dickhead. Right, tell me what you think. She's alright, eh?
Whoa.
So casting is an important factor into any series that you make because it can either make or break your team.
Yes. And while working on no budget, although it can be very tempting to cast your friends
Yep.
and people you know, casting actors is going to elevate your project. And there are so many actors out there and so many who are willing to work on something by collaboration that you should really just audition and cast people.
When you are actually auditioning these actors, make sure that they're in it for the right reasons. And I feel like one way that you can do that is having really specific questions about the project and the character, if they're the actors, that you can ask them to kind of get a gist of how serious are they with this role and if they can actually elevate the project.
And if you're working with passionate actors, they're just going to bring so much more to the project. So they're going to want to rehearse and they're going to want to know more about the characters to elevate the project. They'll bring things to the role that you didn't even think of or improv things. And there was a lot of moments where things were improved in the series, which just ended up being perfect.
I'm gonna say I'm sweet like sugar,
But I'm just as white, baby.
Hey,
we went through so many auditions. Like, we had one meeting place actually that was the go-to meeting place. I can't even say how many times we actually met up with people there. But it was one of those places, and we just knew we had to do it because
It was a food court.
it was a food court. But we had to go to this food court and meet these people
Food courts are
because
free, no budget.
yeah.
Now it comes to your crew for the project and sourcing of equipment. So very much like casting actors, it's great to go out and find other crew members who are willing to collaborate with you, just to have more hands on deck so you're not also doing everything or a million jobs as a creator.
We were very lucky that we actually had a friend who was studying at a film school at the time. So he had access to a lot of the equipment that we didn't have. There are a lot of film students, I feel like, that, you know, they are willing to help because they are very new in the industry, and it's kind of is that type of collaboration.
Yeah, like they're wanting to get their hands on a set and have some more experience to add to their CVs and also learn on the job as well. You can also actually go scout for film crew as well on like Facebook pages and things like that. And the good thing about some of those people too is that they already have their own equipment, like specifically sound people. They usually have their own gear as well.
Yeah.
So that makes it easier in terms of not having to hire a bunch of equipment either.
Ooh. Ignite, you've done it again. Mixer, baby!
Okay, so now you found your actors, you have your crew, you have your idea. The next thing you got to look at is your locations. And with locations, we always say utilize what you can, because making short films, it's not a cheap thing, and especially a series. Whatever you have or whatever people that you know, whether it's family or friends, try to find locations like that, because that's going to save you a lot in the long run.
We used, you know, our houses, our friends' houses. We used like every corner of every single house and just like redid the place to look like a different place. I mean, we just had so many locations also because this was an anthology series. Felt like 8 different short films and we had so many locations to find. But yeah, we managed to pull it off by doing that, and even actors that we met were happy to have us shoot at their place too. So that was really helpful. I do remember one location, the only location we actually hired, which was for
Airbnb.
episode 6, the party scene. And I was like, oh, I just wanted location. I wanted to look like a house and a party.
Yeah.
So we hired the location. It was the night before the shoot. We were relaxing. Everything was done. And then we get an email from Airbnb saying that they double booked our location and we couldn't have it anymore.
Luckily, my dad has a factory. And in this factory, there's a showroom. And it kind of looks like a kitchen / lounging space. So I called him and so grateful to him that he actually said yes. And before you know it, we're kind of dressing up that set and trying to make it look like the location that we had in mind.
Yeah, and like just being creative with it. Like, so we did a lot of closer shots, so we weren't getting everything else in the background, and it literally did just look like a house. At the end of the day, people are surprised when they go into that showroom when we say, oh, we filmed that scene here. They're like, what? So yeah, and I think that also leads into the importance of production design.
Yeah, production design, it's a big one because it's how you make the space look to make it feel like it's part of a film or a series.
I think it's very easy to, so say you have a space and you're like, this is the only space I have access to. We definitely have to shoot here. You can walk into that space and just not bother and be like, okay, let's just shoot.
Yeah, it's a white wall or something.
To really put in the effort, like, I mean, white walls are boring. And so just really have a think about how can you dress up that space, you know, and it doesn't have to be costly. Like, it can be posters, go to Kmart, find little bits and pieces to put into the space and think about whose space is that? You know, what's that character like? How can I make it known that this is this character's space? And it's those little details that are going to really set your series apart. And we actually gratefully won Best Production Design at the British Web Awards for it. So yeah, production design is a big one. So costuming is another important point that I think gets overlooked a lot in independent short filmmaking. I think, again, people just assume it's not something that's very important, and then they go to the actors and say, oh,
Just bring whatever
they're
you
like, oh, what's the costuming for today? Oh,
Whatever.
just wear whatever you want, you know.
Shorts, white t-shirt,
Black t-shirt,
patterned.
It's just so boring. And again, just like production design, costuming can say so much. I think being actors, we know how important costuming can be to a character. Like, I'm going to feel really different if I'm wearing this compared to like a massive coat and a scarf. And it's going to say a lot about the characters' personalities as well. So, you know, we got a few costume designers on board for some of the episodes, and it was great to just leave it in their hands. And particularly the influencer episode and the party episode.
Good. Yeah, those
wow, it just added so much having those themes, especially the influencers. I mean, they've got to look the part.
Yeah, they have to look.
They can't just be wearing anything. And the party scene, we decided to do a 90s hip hop costume party. So, you know, it's like small details like that. That could have just been an average party where everyone's just wearing jeans and t-shirts. But we're like, what if these characters wanted to be a themed hip hop 90s party? And that's so much more interesting to look at. And from an international perspective, I think as well, it's a lot more interesting and relatable as well. When you're wanting to create something award-winning, so it's not just a web series. So if you want to go to the award-winning level, you need to be thinking about these extra layers and details to fill it out and take it from good to great.
I love that dress. It's super cute.
Thanks, it's new.
It's gorgeous. But maybe not with those shoes though. I think black would have looked better.
So one part of the film that often gets overlooked when making a web series is the music. And to me, yeah, that's it. The music it's so important, because when you actually have a track that's going with the scene, it can elevate it so much.
Even with working with no budget, obviously you don't have access to those really top songs. You have access to royalty-free music, yeah. However, if you do research and contact people, there are so many, once again, independent music artists who want to get their work out there and who are extremely talented. And we did get quite a few of those on our tracks as well.
To attack, one life, one love. Don't you ever look back.
My heart's a turn way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
And also, with the note of the royalty-free music, it is a chore trying to go through all the songs online to find the right track. But the way I think about it is, yes, it might take you hours and hours just to find that one track, but once you find that track and you put onto the scene that you want, you watch, that's where the magic happens. Because there were so many emotional moments in our series, and they had music, and I felt like that even made it even more emotional.
In episode 3 at the very end, there was a song I wanted, Crazy by Patsy Cline, and obviously I can't get that. But covers, you can have covers.
Yeah,
and
you can.
So we did find an independent artist, Brittany Fenwick, a beautiful singer, and she gratefully recorded a cover of the song. And it was perfect. And then it's elevating your project from the cheesiest royalty-free music that is out there. It'd be a very different project if we had a bunch of those songs.
Crazy, I'm crazy for feeling so lonely.
So as you create your web series, problem solving is something that you shouldn't think isn't going to apply to you, because it is. And it's a huge part of making a series or any project. If you don't have a budget for
Yes.
everything,
Yes.
you can expect that things are going to happen and you're going to have to know what to do on the spot. On episode 3 of Follower, at the very ending scene, Ruby, the character, was actually meant to be walking with a friend of hers, and it was this idea that Levi is in a place where he's very confident and he's found himself, but Ruby hasn't yet. And as they walk past each other, she sees him, and it's sort of like a bit of an inspiration that maybe she needs to change. But her friend dropped out on the day, like we were on set and she was late, and I'm like, what's going on? And I messaged her, and she, for some reason, got confused and didn't think she had to show up that day. And I was like, okay, well, we're working with a very small, non-existent budget, and I can't shoot on another day. So I had to change the script on the spot. But I actually think it worked really nicely in that I made Ruby also have found herself. So as they're walking past each other at the end, they're both in a very good place, and it actually kind of worked in our favor. And I think also be prepared to take it on yourself. For example, at the end of our process, so in post-production, almost everything is done, and it was such a long journey. We went through COVID with it, and all we had to do was the sound.
How hard could that be? So basically, we had a team come on board who wanted to help us with the sound production.
Yeah, post-sound.
Post-sound production. So fixing up the dialogue, adding sound effects, putting in the music. So we were working with them for a few months, but we weren't seeing any work coming out of them. The last week of our deadline, for them to not have anything, but when they actually finally did deliver something, some of it, it felt like a rushed thing.
In not paying people and working by collaboration, unfortunately, it's something you kind of have to expect a little bit with some people, that they're
Pulling
not
out
gonna,
and,
Yeah, so we were so close to our deadline. We had festivals that we were wanting to enter. And so we had to jump on YouTube and learn how to sound mix ourselves.
It was very stressful, and the attitude's always whatever it takes to get this done. Like, we didn't come all this way for nothing, so what's like it's a bit more effort, but it's just tackling that problem.
Yeah, and if you want to finish it, you want to complete it, I think sometimes you just have to do what you have to do.
Okay, now you know most of the steps on how to make a successful series. There's one part that we need to touch on that is the most important, which is believing in yourself and having faith and confidence and persistence that your vision is going to be completed.
So through this process, it's not a process that's easy and a breeze. But it is very rewarding when you get to that finish line, and even throughout the process, like learning and filming and all sorts of things. But you have to believe in yourself. I mean, a lot of times when we actually said we were going to put out a series like this initially, we actually had a few people we knew who were good acquaintances say, are you sure you want to do an idea that's just about the negatives of social media? I don't know if that's really a good idea. Like, maybe you should do it this way or that way. But we were very confident on our vision and what we wanted it to be. And we had to stay true to that throughout the process. And we had to persist. We had to learn skills where we needed to get to that finish line. And it was a very rewarding payoff getting to that finish line.
The vision that you have, keep thinking about that. When you're struggling, think about why you started this. What was the purpose of you creating this project? If it meant something to your heart, that's what's going to keep you going when it gets rough.
And just trust that the right people are going to connect with it as well. Like even in the festival process, like there's going to be some festivals that don't take it on, and then there's going to be some that really go, wow, this is amazing. And I just want to shout out to British Web Awards.
British Web Awards.
Those first nominations we got through their festival and awards. Oh my gosh, it was like, oh, all of this. Like, obviously you don't want to like pin things on just getting awards, but it was so nice to be recognized for all of our hard work.
Yeah, that's definitely, and yeah, when you do come to the end of the journey of making this, you will appreciate it. And, you know, we wish you the best of luck with making these.
And it's absolutely possible to make an award-winning film or series on no budget. It is not impossible.
Minus budget.
Negative
budget.
But yeah, it's not impossible. It can absolutely be done. It's going to make you grow so much. And it's a very rewarding thing to have a finished product that's amazing at the end of things.
Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found our tips really helpful, as I'm sure they are.
Yeah, and if there was anything in this video that you want us to expand upon, like any of the points, we'd be happy to do that. Just let us know in the comments.
Or if you want to watch the series, we'll drop it down the link.
Yeah, definitely. We'll drop the link to Social Murderer down the bottom in the description, and you can go check it out.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think. And yeah, happy creating to you.
Yeah, happy creating. And if you want to see any other videos or want to see our other contents, please like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.